Anyone that's been around me knows that I strongly believe that students are given too much homework these days. But what is also true is that practicing is really important to developing any skill. Why is practicing important? One of the things is it helps students avail themselves of their best teacher, which is themselves. We are all our own best teacher. And it's really important to give ourselves an opportunity to learn from the person that knows us best, which is us. Secondly, practicing helps students develop an independent understanding of the knowledge and skills that are being taught and worked on in class, so that they can then become confident and then more easily take the next steps in the learning process. The next question that's very typical and very important is, how much should a student practice? So I created a chart here that kind of goes over my general concept that I communicate to the students about how much practice is necessary to be successful. So a student that never practices is going to perpetually be 7 days behind the average student. A student that practices 1 day a week is also taking 6 days off, so they're going to be about 5 days behind the average student. A student that practices 2 days a week is also taking 5 days off, so they're going to be about 3 days behind the average student. A student that practices 3 days a week is also taking 4 days off, and that student's going to generally be about 1 day behind the average student. So the sweet spot is really 4 days. A student who's practicing 4 days a week is taking 3 days off, so they're generally going to be 1 day ahead of the average student. The better approach is to practice 5 days a week. That student's going to be taking 2 days off, and they're going to generally be 3 days ahead of the average student. And the students who are practicing 6 and 7 days a week are just probably doing a stellar job and are great examples in class and are making wonderful progress on their instrument. Commensurate with the number of days they're behind the average student, students whose practice habits are in the red are going to possibly struggle and potentially find class more challenging than students whose practice habits are in the green. So, how does this translate to performance in class? A student who's practicing 4 days a week is generally going to be pretty comfortable in class. They might be making mistakes like we all do, but they're able to fix their mistakes with instructor feedback. A student who's practicing 5 days a week is going to be comfortable in class as well. And they're going to be making mistakes as well, as we all do, but they're generally able to fix the mistakes on their own. A student who's practicing 6 and 7 days a week is going to be extremely comfortable in class. They're probably a leader in their section. They're rarely making performance errors, and they're probably using their time in class to refine their performance. One of the things a lot of students struggle with is trying to find time to practice. And so one of the things I try to illuminate to students is that there are many times during the school day where practice can happen and be very beneficial. One of the options is to practice before the school day for students who get to school before the 7:55 bell. If a student's a bike rider or a car rider who might have to wait, practicing after school is another wonderful option. A plethora of our students choose to practice during PAW period each day and make excellent progress by utilizing that time a few times a week to make progress on their instruments. Private lessons also count as practice time and are a wonderful guided practice to help all students improve regardless of their ability level. Home practice is also extremely beneficial as well.